Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day podcast. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and this podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with the newest author around here, and he is J. Luke Bennecke. Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day.
Hey, Denise, how's it going today?
Very well, thank you. All is well that ends well.
That's right. Good to see you.
Situation, but thank you so much for asking.
Yeah.
Now, I just learned a little bit about you, and you are a civil engineer, pilot, real estate broker,
Yep.
and voice cover actor.
Voiceover actor. Yes.
How on earth do you fit all of these things into who you are and best-selling author? Please share with us.
No problem. Anybody else who has the same four letters that I do attached to their brain, ADHD. We get bored easily, and we got to keep busy. Stay busy, stay focused.
See, I was never diagnosed, but I have this.
Probably.
I probably am. I work a full-time job at the hospital as a nurse practitioner hospitalist.
Yeah.
And I run this business full-time, Bold Publishing. And I have a podcast, and I have a coaching program, and I have a million things. And I am a mother of three and a grandmother. So
it sounds like ADHD. Join the club. Welcome. There's plenty of us out here.
Still. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, but how do you manage? How do you manage all of those things?
Lots of coffee, lots of caffeine, and just try to do what I can to stay busy and focus on what things that I enjoy doing. And at the end of the day, I'm here to my purpose is to help entertain people. So whatever that looks like, whether it's a book or helping them get from A to B with a better mindset than they would have had if they're driving, on the freeway with less congestion, or doing videos or voiceover acting or what have you. Just try to do my part to help my fellow man.
But when did you realize, or when was the first time you realized that there was this thriller writer living inside of this engineer?
I think a lot of us have that in us. Like most people, I was like, they always say, everybody has at least one book. You got at least one book in you. And I had an idea in 2015, and I was driving around. I'm like, what if we had no traffic congestion anymore? Wouldn't that be cool? Well, how can we do that? Yeah. Well, we have AI coming out, and there's these new things called self-driving cars. That's all good technology. What if I put that as kind of that technology as, in the core of a high-paced, fast-paced, fun read thriller. But then the bad guys get a hold of it, and, all hell breaks loose. That might make for a good story. Turns out I was right. So that was the onus for, Civil Terror Gridlock, my first novel. And seems like, it's got 4 point whatever stars on Amazon and Goodreads. So people seem to kind of resonate with people. So,
did you incorporate engineering in that story?
Absolutely. So I've been a civil engineer professional for about 35 years, and I've been involved in planning, designing, and building construction critical infrastructure for most of that time. And I've seen a lot of up close potential issues. If you put your bad guy hat on, I'm out there as an engineer with my good guy hat on, saying, hey, let's make this better and reduce traffic congestion and this and that and the other thing. What if I was a bad guy? So you look at it through that lens, and I see a lot of potential, issues there that the bad guys could take advantage of. So I thought maybe cautionary tale. Let's go down the cautionary tale route.
Yeah.
And write a story that's plausible. It's not something that might happen later on. Or never happen. These are stories that could happen tomorrow. They're all very plausible, and they're based on actual facts, objective truth, and real world engineering stuff.
Do you think we are already relying on AI too much?
Oh, that's a great question. AI is a deep topic. I was on a panel. We spent a whole hour talking about it, myself and four other guys at the West Coast or Left Coast Crime in San Francisco a few months ago. And at the end of the day, it's kind of, I think it's whatever your level of consciousness is at. If you're kind of resonating low, you're going to see this as a threat. If you're resonating higher and you have a tendency to see the glass, the stereotypical glass is half full or half empty rather, depending on what you, if you're thirsty, it's half full. Yeah. So you would see it as a wonderful technology that could totally transform how mankind interacts with each other and our planet and everything that we've ever made, period. Or you could end the world. So hopefully somewhere in between and leaning towards, the good side.
I believe there are two types of people, and who you are is going to show up in every situation. So,
Right.
like you said, if you're a good person, anything you get, you're going to look at it as how I can benefit the world or how I can do good with this thing. But if
Right.
you're a bad person, you are just looking at, how can I use this thing to do the bad
Yeah.
or to get over? Because that's who we are.
Yeah. To make more, how can I use it to make more money? It's
And I do
egocentric.
believe that AI,
Yeah. Yeah. I totally
AI
agree.
it has its place, and I think we ought to be cautious with everything. So
It's a tool, right? It's like a hammer.
tool.
Hammers can build houses. Hammers can murder people.
Now, exactly. Now, your books became instant bestsellers. What was it like for you to hear the news that your book has reached that status that is still one of the things that most authors, they reach for?
Oh, it's validation in the purest sense. It's a wonderful feeling, and every author who's achieved that, who set that goal and achieved that status, I'm sure would agree. It's a wonderful feeling and motivating to get back out there and write the next story. Some statistics for your viewers: about 90% of people who say they're going to write a book never write a book. So anybody who's written a book, you're already in that rarefied 10%. And then the people who finish the book, 90% of those people never get above a 4.0 on their reviews on Amazon. So really, if you've written a book and you have, even if you only have 10 or 20 reviews, if you have more than 4 stars in there, you've already accomplished more than 99% of people who say, I'm going to write a novel. It's not easy. It's a lot of work, and to do it properly is even more work, as I found out through the process of failure and picking myself up and continuing to move on.
What was the writing process like for you?
Well, I was pretty, I would say, arrogant in approaching the writing process. I didn't think it was going to be as challenging as it was. I don't have an MFA. I don't have a degree in English literature. So I thought, hey, how hard can it be? Which, famous last words. I read a book called How to Write Novels for Dummies. I thought that's all you would need. And of course, that wasn't, at all anywhere close to reality. My first chapter I had written, I gave it to my wife, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think?" Here I am, like putting myself out there and opening myself up, and she's like, she reads it, and I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't. Are you sure you want to write a book? She was tactfully trying to give me some constructive criticism, but it was like, are you sure? And then I read it again myself, and I'm like, this sucks. What am I doing wrong? I wrote what I thought I had in my head. I'm explaining something. But it turns out there's like hundreds of, and I'll put this in air quotes, rules that you need to follow there's a reason that the craft of writing is out there, and rules are meant to be broken. Don't get me wrong. But if you don't write properly, you're not going to meet the expectations of your readers. your readers, for the most part, are expecting a tight, well-written story with good, solid verbs and proper grammar and no spelling errors and all these other things.
Yes.
And if you're not doing that, then they're not going to follow the story. They're not going to get immersed in what you're trying to tell them, and the magic doesn't happen. I call it magic. Because I could be dead, and 10 years from now, you pick up my book and you'll read something that was going on in my head in the past, or any author for that matter. It's kind of magical. It's like a time portal.
Oh, it truly is. And I like that you added the word magical to it, because I like to think it's magical also.
Yeah.
Because you are taking people on a journey. And it's, for some people, it's very visual.
Right.
But you can also make it very emotional so that they feel whatever it is that you want them to, carry on. And then it is also something that you have to teach them. You have to learn something from reading it. It just isn't good enough to share a message, just to share a message. But what am I going to take from this? Even if it's a thriller, what am I taking from this thriller?
Right.
Maybe it's to protect yourself. Maybe it's to think twice. Maybe it's to think about artificial intelligence when you're driving, or how was, designing a bridge important when you are traveling. Let's start to have more of a provoking thought about, everything. But we're not just reading just to read. We are reading to know something, to feel something, and to take action. So
Exactly.
I like that you say it's magical, because when you can do all of those things, you transfer the message into the reader, and then you help them to move, to take action, to see life differently,
Yeah, and now all of that is possible. You hit the nail on the head. That's all possible with a well-written story. I try to take my readers on an adventure. It's entertaining from page 1 to the last page. I put twists in there that you're not supposed to see coming. Once you find out that the twist happened, you're like, well, God, why didn't I see that? It's plausible, it's realistic, but not foreseeable. The pacing, I try to keep the pedal to the metal. Most of the time, you still need a down chapter or here and there to kind of catch your breath. But it's supposed to be, if I've done my job properly, an emotional experience.
Yes.
So I have some scenes where you might cry, you might get excited, you might think, okay, I'll just read one more chapter, and then you're reading another chapter, and then another chapter, and another chapter. If that happens, as I've received feedback from lots of people, that means I've done my job. That means this is a good story, and that kind of reinforces how I tell my stories, and make it something fun for the reader.
Yes. Now, you tell us a little bit about your book and the protagonist, Jake Bendel.
Sure. So I have a 3-book series. The first book is Gridlock. The second book's behind me, Waterborne. Together, they've sold about 100,000 copies. And then the third book comes out October 6th. It is available for pre-order. It's called Blackout. And the protagonist is there in all 3. And his name is, Jake Bendel. And I would have come up with a different name just between you and me. I based it on myself. They said, write what you know. And this is like a better version of me, a smarter version, a more brave version. He's a civil engineer too, and all this stuff. So I've written other books that I've branched out. Since then, I have strong female protagonists and non-engineers and this and that. But these 3 right here are kind of based on like a real heroic civil engineer who didn't want to go on any of these journeys, but he's kind of forced into it. He's in his early 50s. He's got 1 daughter. He's married. He loses his wife in the first book. He's grieving her throughout the whole book. And that adds kind of that emotional depth that you were referring to earlier.
Yeah.
Second book, she's not involved at all. And then the third book, maybe the wife comes back. I don't know. So, we'll see.
We have something to look forward to. Okay.
Yeah. So the emotions that you would go through if you lose your best friend, your spouse, That's all in this first book. And then if that person happens to maybe be alive again and you need to kind of go save her from the bad guys, maybe in the third book, those emotions kind of wrapped up with everything else, maybe.
So tell us about how you came up with the character Jake in the first place, because he's carried through the 3 books that you've written already. How did you come up with such a compelling character?
I did a little bit of online sleuthing and noticed that most books that have an engineer character is like a stereotype. It's a guy with the round glasses and, hi, I'm the engineer and I don't know, I'm not very personable and I'm really smart, but I don't know anything. I have no people skills. It's that guy. And I'm like, there's a lot of cool engineers I've worked with over the decades,
including myself.
You said it, but yeah. So I'm like, why don't we try to like make civil engineering a little more appealing to high school kids or kids in, freshman, sophomore in school who haven't picked a major yet. Civil engineering is a wonderful field, and we have a huge demand for them right now. And there's not a lot of them coming out. There's a mismatch between the demand and the supply coming out of college. And it's a great field, and we need more civil engineers. Civil engineers give you your water, your buildings, your houses, your roads, your rail, your anything sanitary, your power, all kinds of stuff, and anything you need for civilization. Without civil engineers, we would all collapse. So it's a foundational career that every modern civilization needs. And it's tough. You need to be good at computers, and you need to kind of be smart and good with math and all this stuff. And it's not something that a lot of people think of or know about. They I want to be a doctor. I want to make a lot of money. I want to be an attorney or whatever. Okay, great. But put engineering in there too. It might be something you might want to take a look at.
So do you think that the lack of representation for young people to see themselves as remaining cool and smart is one of the reasons why there is such a demand for more young people to come into this profession?
I'd like to think that. I mean, I remember in the 80s when Tom Cruise came out, with Top Gun, and myself and all my peers were, I'm going to go into the Navy. I want to be a fighter pilot, naval aviator. And that was super cool. And then they had a spike. If you go back and you look at the recruitment numbers, there was a huge spike of people signing up to go into the Navy.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that when my books get into the millions of copies sold and one or more of these stories gets made into a really strong movie, you can go to the theaters and see it, that would help raise awareness to everybody about the importance of civil engineering, how much fun it is, how you can make more money than most other careers, and increase those numbers at the of incoming freshmen saying, hey, I want to be a civil engineer. I know what that is, and this sounds like that's a perfect fit for me.
They are already familiar with with civil engineers and what they do and the lifestyle that they can live.
I didn't even know. I did. Yeah, exactly. I didn't know what engineering was. I mean, I went through public schools. I was going to be a doctor. I was in my freshman, like March or something like that, in my freshman year, and we were staying up late studying. And I asked the guy, like, "What's your major?" And he said engineering. And I made a stupid joke about that because I didn't know what it was. And he's like, "No, we build stuff. We design things like houses and roads and stuff. And there's a lot of math and computers." And I was like, wait, what? There's a degree for that? I didn't even know what that was. And then I went and talked to a counselor, and he's like, yeah, asphalt and concrete and steel and beams and girders and all this. And I was like, this sounds like fun. What is that? And he said civil engineering. That was the first time I had heard it. I was a sophomore in college. Wow. Talking to a counselor, and he's like, you might look at civil engineering. And I'm like, never heard of that before. So I went through like the first 19 years of my life not even hearing that term, or if I did, it just bounced off me.
So is that why it is so important for you to give back to high schools and give scholarships, and just to ensure that there is early knowledge of this profession.
You're giving me goosebumps right now. Absolutely. Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. No pun intended. Nails are a very important part of civil engineering. But yeah, I get these kids and they come in for the scholarship interviews and I don't know what I want to do. I'm really good with math and computers and I like drawing things and I'm very creative and I'm like, have you looked at civil engineering? And they're like, didn't know what that was.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So I'm like, take a look at it. And so there's some kids out there now who are in college or maybe graduated who, I was able to kind of influence them a little bit and kind of help them pivot down a different path. And they're going to be out there doing, the work of a civil engineer that they might not have otherwise, found.
And that that means a lot to you, just to educate them and get them ready.
100%. Yes.
Tell us about some of the givebacks that you do.
Yeah, so we have the Bennecke Achievement Scholarship. We just did our 10th year, my wife and I, and we offer the scholarship to a number of high school seniors who are going into some kind of a STEM field. And we look for kids who, I call them kids, but they're 17, 18, young adults who are looking for some kind of a path forward to kind of change the world. There's a lot of kids that have good grades and they've done sports and stuff. But if you've got good grades and you've participated in sports and maybe student council and some clubs and stuff, your chances for kind of achieving what I would, again, air quotes, success, because it's different for everybody, but something productive in the world are pretty good. And so we want to try to help you financially with your college expenses as you move forward. And a lot of them end up being, or they're in some kind of an engineering field.
Yeah. Do you think about what our young people are exposed to now and how we can, of course you think about it because you have this scholarship, you and your wife has been doing this for 10 years. But do you think about, the danger if we were not to have some programs like you with people talking about it and ensuring that kids really get to learn what civil engineering is?
Yeah. So it's, at least at the local high school here where we offer the scholarship, the counselors and the teachers and everybody have done a wonderful job kind of preparing these kids over 4 years. And even before that, they're elementary school teachers and stuff. They've spent 17, 18 years preparing these kids and their parents. They're getting ready to go out into the world. And you remember when you're 18, you don't know what you're going to do. I didn't. Again, like I said, I was going to be a doctor. And people just kind of float through. And if you had kind of somebody there to say, hey, here's something to consider. Here are all the pros. And if it kind of matches up with what you're doing, that a little bit extra guidance. And I don't work at the school. I'm just some outside guy. I'm a businessman. I've done pretty well. So maybe you can look at the success I've had financially, economically, whatever, and go, hey, maybe this guy has some advice for me. I'll be happy to give you advice and then you can take it or leave it. But I'm probably going to recommend that you go into civil engineering if you kind of meet those qualifications.
Does your protagonist, does he have something similar that he does for his community in the book, Blackout? Or not just that Blackout, because I know there are 3 of them.
Yeah, he participates at a local college. He lives up by Sacramento. And then he ends up moving down to San Diego at the end of book 3. But yeah, he helps out. He mentors college students, and I think I'm going to end up having him teach some classes, just kind of part-time to kind of keep his finger in the pie, in the civil engineering pie, just to kind of be there to kind of guide the young adults when they're taking classes.
I'm sure he has ADHD also, so you got to keep him busy.
He does. He absolutely does. There's no way he could do all the stuff that he does in the books if he didn't have ADHD. Yeah.
So as an engineer, you have done you've literally built infrastructures. How does that real world technical knowledge influence the way you write the thrillers?
Yeah. So as an engineer, I'm trained to identify risks. So as a novelist, I get to explore what happens when those risks kind of become reality. So these are cautionary tales. So like in the first book was, what happens if self-driving car network comes out and we do self-driving cars on a massive scale, and then the bad guys come in and weaponize it, and millions of people could possibly die. And the protagonist comes in there and saves the day. Second book is drinking water. The water system in California is basically poison, but not with like a chemical. It's a DNA virus. That it's a virus that modifies the DNA of the people who drink it, but only men. It's kind of crazy.
Oh wow!
So it's not poison. It's they're weaponizing the water. I mean, that's something we all drink, and you kind of take it for granted, but
it can happen.
It is possible. It could happen. And then the third book starts out with a presidential assassination to cause chaos, and then the next up on the list is the power grid. But this is not terrorism. This is strategy. And if you take down our power grid, which there's two grids, it's entirely possible. You're going to have so much chaos, and people, there's no cell phones, no gas. Your water systems are going to start not working after about a week. People are going to be scared, and that's a perfect time, I think, for third-party actors and nations who don't like us to kind of come in and do what they want with us. And obviously, I don't want that to happen. So this is, again, a cautionary tale. Like, hey, we have some potential vulnerabilities here. Let's try to work on shoring these up before everybody figures out that that's a weakness of ours.
Now, I've heard that something of the sorts is coming to America, like a great blackout. Are there any preparations in this thriller that we should be heeding to?
I live in California, so we're prepared for a big earthquake. Like, we have water, we have a couple months worth of water, a couple months worth of food, weapons, self-defense type stuff, first aid kits, those types of things, just basic stuff that you would need. You don't need to go my opinion, full prepper. Be ready for 5 years of nothing. In all likelihood, if you can survive a couple of months without public services, you probably be okay. Most people probably can't, I would be willing to guess. So I do talk about that a little bit in the book, just to kind of add that sense of fear and kind of like wake up. World War II was less than 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Look at what happened to Europe. I mean, it was devastating. They've rebuilt, good for them.
Yeah.
But that could totally happen here. And I think we have a lot of our citizens who really don't appreciate how good we have it right now. And they assume, I think incorrectly, that it'll always be like this. And we need to, again, from my perspective, make sure that we're doing what we can to not only protect ourselves, but don't rely on the government, federal or state governments, to take care of you and your needs of your family. So that's
I
up to
agree.
you.
I agree. And so when the reader picks up your book, what is the most important message that you want them to get?
So Blackout is fiction, but
Yes.
every technology in the book either exists today or it's rapidly emerging. Like I wrote the book like 5 years ago. So the way that I'll just give this away. So hopefully, if you haven't read the book yet, or you don't want a tip here, just cover your ears. But you've seen these drone shows now. They weren't out 5 years ago, but you've seen these drones where they make all these different up in the sky at night, and you make a flag or whatever. If you did that and you had a little bit of explosive Semtex, I figured that if you had 2 pounds of Semtex on each drone, which 2 pounds is a payload within range of most off-the-shelf drones, and you made a curtain of drones and you had an airplane fly through that curtain and you detonated all of those drones simultaneously, it would be the equivalent of a missile hitting that airplane, and it would take it down. And we have some. I remember talking to an FBI agent about 8 years ago. I said, "What are you doing right now for protecting our airports from drone attacks and stuff like that?" And he said, "We're not doing anything."
Wow.
Not doing
So
anything.
they're not
What?
banned from those parameters?
They are now, and there's
Okay.
a lot of like if I go out and I grab I have a drone.
Mhm.
If I take my drone out and I try to fly it by an airport, it won't let me take off, and that's great. I have to get special permission to go fly in there, so you don't have an accidental collision with an aircraft and a drone. But you can override that. You can make your own drone and throw away the operating system that comes with your DJI drone, and you can fly it wherever you want to. Those restrictions you can turn those off. So if you know how to turn those off and you have enough drones and you attach enough Semtex explosive to it, you can cause some damage anywhere. You can do it. You can attack the power grid. You can attack airports. Again, I don't want this to happen, and I'm not suggesting anybody do this, but there's no way right now that we have in place that I'm aware of, other than these kind of restrictions, like non-mandated, like voluntary restrictions. So if you're a bad guy, you're not going to volunteer for that. You can like all the airports should have GPS or a type of frequency jamming to mess up the drone so it doesn't know where it's at in real-time space. But I don't know if those have been rolled out yet. I know there was some talk a few years ago about putting those in place at the airports, and hopefully they have. But either way, if you're using a frequency, and I guess this is all happening in Ukraine right now, there is a literal battle, like a technological battle right now happening between Russia and Ukraine on with drone warfare. See if I can get this straight. Like they have encrypted signals that randomly change frequency all the time. So you can't just aim a frequency killer to essentially shut down the drone. It's constantly changing. So this is all happening in real time. This is evolving like daily, monthly.
Right. Because I'm thinking about, 5 years ago, drones were here, but they weren't so prominent and they weren't used as a tool in warfare. And maybe they were in a different.
You're correct. They're just coming online 5 years ago. It was just kind of this new thing. And with the Ukrainian war, Ukrainians, to their credit, they're like, hey, we're the David going against the Goliath. And we don't have a lot of money, but we can do a lot of damage with these little tiny drones. And so but then Russia comes back and says, hey, let's send out these frequency killers, and then the Ukraine comes back with better technology that's fighting that. And so this is all happening right now.
As an engineer, are you thinking that those small drones can do way more damage to the traditional fighter tools?
So think about it. So let's say you had a target. Picture just a target in the middle of the desert somewhere, just to kind of be generic. And what would you do normally? You would have your missile take off from 5 miles away. It would fly and it would target that, and it would go up and it would go down, and then it would land on the target and it would detonate, right? It would blow up. Right. Well, with drones, you can have, let's say, 200 of these things or 1,000 of these things, each with their own little bit of explosive on them. They're not all going to be taking off necessarily from the same location. You can spread them out in 1,000 different locations, different distances, as long as they all are programmed to coalesce into one targeted location at the same time and detonate at the same time.
Yeah.
So if you can kind of picture that, and that's so how do you stop that? You'd have to go to those 1,000 different places. If it was the old school, if you could just stop the missile, you're good. That's one place. You can, even if it's on its way, you can blow it up. But if you have 1,000 things coming in from 1,000 different locations, That's a lot harder.
Yeah.
So you'd have to hit them with their frequencies and how they know where they're at in space using the GPS coordinates. And GPS coordinates are surprisingly easy to manipulate.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is deep. I mean,
Sorry.
we're talking about Blackout, and it just seems like we are living in a time where just anything is easily, because it's so accessible now for you to get a drone. So it's really easy for you to have a blackout of this great power grid,
Yeah.
blackout. And so as we read this book, even though it's a fiction,
Mhm.
you still want us to be prepared, not rely on the government to save us, but to start thinking about how can we save ourselves were this type of power get into the wrong hands.
Yeah, technology, and there's a lot of, when I say technology, there's 1,000 different pieces. AI is one of them, drones is one of them, self-driving cars is another. There's 1,000 different pieces.
Mhm.
Makes our lives easier, but every single one of those creates a new potential vulnerability for the bad actors. So it's great that I think that we're having AI, but we need to think about, put your bad guy hat on and go, hey, what if this and this and this? And that's, I think, where myself and Brad Thor and Mark Greeny and stuff, we come up with these ideas like, hey, what if this happened? This is a theoretical, hypothetical, fictional story using real world technologies. We've done the thinking for you. Take this, and you should be a little scared. Don't lose sleep over it, because we're good right now.
Right.
But everything's from my perspective, there's a potential for a cascading effect where you do this and then you lose your power, and then this happens, and then before you know it, you're in anarchy. We're not that far away, I don't think. Look what happened during COVID, just with the paper and the supply chain issues. We had a little bit of a panic relative to like a war. We had a viral panic, and everybody went to the store and grabbed food and paper. And then now you don't have toilet paper.
Yeah.
Just that one thing alone was an inconvenience. But imagine if that happens with medicine. Yeah, bigger stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just read recently that something happened with one of our medicine suppliers recently, maybe about 3 days ago. A medical supplier in California was burned down. So we will be having issues getting supplies very soon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I just read that yesterday.
So I have an MBA, right? So one of the classes we study is operations management and operations in general. And Amazon, when you click buy, there's like a million things that goes into effect on the most efficient way to get that product from the manufacturer or the warehouse to the truck to your house or your apartment as efficiently as possible. There's no margin for error. It's very tight, and it needs to be like that because time is money. And the whole system that we're operating in right now is using those tight margin operational algorithms and products. That's why when we had COVID, one little wrench in there kind of is pictured as like a bunch of gears all spinning fast. You put one little thing in there, you end up with a cascading effect. And even though we're a $38 trillion economy, we have a lot of momentum. I don't think it would take a lot to kind of shut that down. And war is one thing. People traditionally over the millennia have said, okay, let's fight a war here and kill people and cause terror and stuff. But really, if you want to cause damage to a big country, you hit them in the pocketbook. And if you have a $30 trillion economy and you can knock that in half by doing whatever you're doing, you've just caused $15 trillion worth of damage to a country. That's a lot of money. There's a lot of money. And that's something that's, I think, worse than killing people and instigating terror and things like that into people, and that weakens everybody. And then if you wanted to kind of come in and do what you've traditionally done in terms of taking over a country, that would be the way to do it. But again, this is all fiction. And
I know.
I'm not somebody who's in charge of anything. So this is more a lesson for the people who are in charge. Say, hey, this is cautionary tale.
Is Jake a hero?
Jake's absolutely here. Yes.
Okay, so can we depend on Jake to start leading us to think and get us prepared? Everyone, go out and get your book. Go out and get the Blackout so you can start.
Get the book. Get prepared, and you'll be taken on quite the adventure. But this is a happy ending. Each book has a happy ending.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming and sharing about this thriller.
Nice talking with you. Very nice talking with you.
This has been very intriguing for me, because now I can't help to think about the grid and the Blackout.
Yep.
Because, we have to be prepared. We have to think about these things. Not worry about it. Like you said, don't lose sleep. But at least start to think about it. Put it on your radar.
Start to think about it. And then ideally, we have leaders who represent us all and say, hey, here's a goal. And let's put some money and some resources behind it and eliminate this as a risk for our society. That would be wonderful.
What's a bold promise that you can share with the audience?
Let's see here. I promise to keep those pages turning at midnight, but I'm also going to make you wonder how much of the book could potentially happen.
And what's a bold statement that you can share that may cause a paradigm shift?
Civil engineering is a cool profession. There's a lot more of us than you think, and we kind of tend to work behind the scenes. But after you read any one of these books, especially Blackout, you'll realize that civil engineers are very much needed in any civilization.
And what is a bold move that you would like to make in the future?
Let's see. Bold move in the future. I do have a fourth book kind of kicking around in my head. So this is not going to be the end. There's high probability we'll have a fourth and final Jake Bendel book. I am also planning for him to not make it in that book. But I'm
already in love with Jake.
But I'm planning on bringing in another civil engineer, a younger woman civil engineer, and then we can have a spin-off series with her. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but as of right now, but that's kind of the plan here. I think we've kind of exhausted with the fourth book, Jake Bendel's what he's capable of. But then I'm going to bring in a new generation. She'll be a millennial, and millennials got a lot more energy than I do. So
could it be that Jake, one of his mentors, one of the students that he is mentoring?
It's exactly right.
Oh, yep. I love it. I'm looking forward to the fourth. I want to read Blackout first, but I'm looking forward to reading this thriller. The fourth.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're amazing.
Nice to hear you say that. You are too. Thank you.
Yeah, and I haven't read any of the books yet, guys, but I love reading, and it's one of the things that helped me to become the woman I am today. Just stretching my mind and learning about different places, and here I am today, hosting the Bold Book of the Day. Thank you. That is a wrap, but one of the most fascinating conversations I've had in a long time. Thank you so much.
Me too. Okay. All right.
I'm looking forward to reading the 3 books that you've written already, and I'm also looking forward to reading the fourth one, which is Ruminating. It's there in your head.
Yep.
I do agree that civil engineers, they don't get that coolness that they deserve.
Right.
But you have brought it into that light. So thank you so much.
Yep.
And please share with the audience where they can pick up your book.
You can go to my website, jlukebennecke.com. There's a number of spots, but just focus on Blackout and it'll take you to the pre-order page. It's available on hardcover, ebook, and audiobook for now.
Trust me, go ahead and pre-order, because after everything that you've shared with us today, you guys are going to want to grab your copy immediately. Every single page feels dangerously plausible. And that is exactly what makes it so gripping. So please grab your copy. As a matter of fact, get on the waiting list for the 3rd and 4th. Like me, I'm going to get on the waiting list for the 3rd and for the 4th. Thank you again. And please drop by as soon as the books are out. You just drop by again and let us know.
You got it. Okay, Denise, take it easy.
Thank you. Take care.
Day. All right. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson, or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.